Hey, what's going on, guys? So an article came to my attention, and I just wanted to do a quick layout of data surrounding it. So today we're going to be talking about Almaty, Kazakhstan, and this is where Almaty, Kazakhstan is. It is technically on the border of Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and one of these Chinese provinces over here, Xinjiang province. And so let's just do a little historical perspective first. So this is Kazakhstan. As you know, it's in the news right now. If you the Russian quote unquote invasion. Popular Science. This is 2013 in August. Why the U.S. is building a high-tech bubonic plague lab in Kazakhstan. When Kazakhstan Central Reference Laboratory (CRL) opens in September, the $102 million project laboratory will serve as a Central Asian way station for a global war on dangerous diseases. In 1992, Dr. Kanajan Alibekov, a scientist from the Soviet Union, boarded a flight in Almaty, the Kazakhstan capital, for New York. He sat down with CIA. He had a terrifying secret to reveal: that bioweapons program Soviet Union stopped in 1980s hadn't actually stopped at all. He knew this because he led Moscow's effort to develop weapons-grade anthrax. In fact, he said in 1989, around the time the Western leaders were using USR to halt its secret bioweapons program known as Biopreparat, the Soviet program had dwarfed the US's by many orders of magnitude. This is disregarding the possibility. Okay, so one big problem he added was that, like the stockpiles of nuclear weapons left in the dust after the Soviet Union, the materials and the expertise needed to make a bioweapon, anthrax, smallpox, cholera, plague, hemorrhagic fevers, and so on, could still be lying about for sale to the highest bidders of those scientists. Okay, so we have a problem, right? Here's the problem. Today, biologists who work with Soviet Union, like those, responded to a case of the plague crossed the border in Kyrgyzstan this week. So definitely have an issue here, right? We have a Soviet era bioweapons lab situation, bioweapons technology, proliferation theoretically, and this guy is, reporting to the CIA in the 1992. 1992, he sat down with CIA. So this man sat down with CIA and identified this issue. So let's fast forward a month later. The US-backed lab is meant to keep talented Kazakh scientists from making biological weapons. The unassumingly named Central Reference Laboratory (CRL) is slotted to open in 2015 and will securely store and study high-risk diseases. This is from Smart News, Smithsonian Magazine. The U.S. is investing $102 million, so basically a repeat. The agency had under 24 offices and facilities scattered around the world to keep an eye on would-be biological weapons. All right, Smithsonian.com. Next article up is Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. Kazakhstan's new national laboratory is a regional resource for a global cause. So more talk about this Kazakhstan BSL Level 2 and 3 laboratory. Construction of the laboratory was funded by the U.S. Department of Defense Cooperation Threat Reduction (CTR) program to reduce the threat of biological weapons of mass destruction and naturally occurring infectious diseases. As COVID has demonstrated, these naturally occurring diseases pose a risk. A joint agreement, right? So more of kind of the same, kind of giving you an idea of the collaboration going on here. 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, BWC, multilateral disarmament of 183 state parties, including Russia, China, United States, prohibits biological weapons development. Kazakhstan, Russia, and China must work together to prevent and detect and respond to infectious disease threats. This is already reading like a military document. All right, next we have frontiers.org articles, right? So building scientific capability and reducing biological threats and effect of 3 cooperative bio-research programs in Kazakhstan. So cooperative research programs aimed at reducing biological threats have increased scientific capabilities and capacity in Kazakhstan. The German Federal Foreign Office German Biosecurity Program, United Kingdom International Biological Security Program, United States Defense Threat Agency Reduction, all this kind of background. Former Soviet Union that engage scientists in relevant biological research, appeal to the government of Kazakhstan. Let's see here. DTR, yeah, that's what? Defense Threat Reduction. Yes. So Dr. Malone was part of this. Dr. Malone mentioned in his interview with Joe Rogan, in the first 20 minutes of that interview, he talks about DTRA. DTRA is what he called it, right? So he has definitely been a part of this, and that gives credence to what I'm telling you about right now. So we have in reference here CRO validation, which includes biosafety BSL3 laboratory, talking about BSL and an ABSL, so animal biosafety laboratory, level 3s and level 2s, DTRAs. So more and more of this kind of talk of this like international development, this international footprint of staging pieces around the world to serve as detection, response, reduction, around the world for biological weapons, all keyed into this original article that I mentioned here, where this gentleman sat down with the CIA in the 1992s, right? So here we are going through more and more information. I'll link all of these articles in the video down below, so you can just click on them and read them on your own time. Several of these will have PDF downloadable documents that you can actually study, research, and we're just kind of going over. I just want to keep the narrative going as we discuss what's going on here. Funding records have invested and engaged in cooperative research programs of Georgia and Kazakhstan's important role. Biological threat reduction and biosecurity is reflected upon 25 million in cooperative research. So more DTRA. There are many cultural, technical, and problematic challenges associated with the cooperation of, so talking about the social impact and what's going on there. Regarding peer-reviewed publications, we learned that Kazakhstan quality and prestige of a publication often depends on indices from Scopus, a Web of Science, and Russian Science Citation Index, right? So talking about the bona fides of this research and their findings. Let's go to the next article here. So that's EU Euractiv, right? So Euractiv.com. Kazakhstan fends off allegations it is developing biological weapons. So this is in May 4th, 2020. Kazakhstan is not developing biological weapons or researching their possible use against other countries, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said on Saturday, denying allegations circulating in Russia and domestic media that the country is working with biological weapons similar to COVID-19. A message from Kazakhstan's foreign ministry, we'll look at that in a moment, stated that due to the increased cases of dissemination of false information in foreign domestic media regarding activities of biological laboratories in Kazakhstan, the authorities find it necessary to bring the public attention that no biological weapons development is underway in Kazakhstan and no research is conducted in any other states. Sounds like something Fauci would say. The reaction follows publications in Russia alleging that Kazakhstan, as well as other former Soviet republics, are developing biological weapons similar, if not identical, to COVID-19. So that probably means gain of function. And the project's being financed by the United States. That sounds like EcoHealth Alliance. That sounds like that sounds like Daszak. That sounds like Fauci. That sounds like the usual suspects. A Russian language website named Rhythm of Eurasia published a long article April 7th quoting another Kazakhstan website, which alleges that a source among the staff of the Central CRL in Almaty, Kazakhstan, the place we're talking about, the biggest city, said that COVID-19 virus created by Kazakhstan scientists 2 years ago completely coincides with the virus in the center of the current pandemic. Do you see where I'm going with this? Do you see what's going on here? The same source claimed that the U.S. Department of Defense is behind the project. Yes, that's correct. We've already documented that in this video in the first minute. The publication also alleged that the United States has created and is financing similar laboratories along Russian borders. That's correct. That's why I mentioned the location here. And I would add, not just Russian borders, but also the Middle Eastern borders. India is right down the street, and China. So right in the middle of a lot of threats, the United States has I'm going to call it a biological landmine here. Very dangerous. Very scary shit here. Among them are the Treaty of Non-Proliferation Nuclear Weapons, NPT, the Convention of Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, CWC, the Convention of Prohibition of Bacteriological and Toxic Weapons, BTWC, the Geneva Protocol for the Prohibition of the Use in War of asphyxiating poisonous or other gases or bacteriological methods of warfare, right? So that is what this Kazakh minister is stressing, that once again the country is an active advocate of the global process of the disarmament and non-proliferation, right? So they're defining what they're saying we're trying to stop. Biosecurity issues are an integral part of the general national security system, right? CRL was created as part of a WMD infrastructure elimination agreement between Kazakhstan and the United States, and funding was provided through the U.S. Department of Defense under the Nunlagar program, which made a significant contribution to the strengthening of the WMD non-proliferation. So we need to look at this Nunlagar program and see what that is. So that's this article, Euractiv TV. Looks like those two articles I tried to pull up are in Russian and are no longer active, and I do not have a way to convert this to English, I don't think. Let's see. Yeah, that says Ing. And we're not in English on this article. So that's the article that this other article referenced. Okay, so let's fast forward to a little bit more recently. As in like last week. U.S. Embassy out of Politico.com. U.S. Embassy ramps up security as officials urge calm in Kazakhstan. The Biden administration also raised questions about a Russian-led military alliance's role and the country rocked by protests. All right, so this is what I wanted to talk about. I gave you all of that back study with the CIA, the funding, all this stuff, DTRA, even talked about Joe Rogan and his interview with Dr. Malone. Dr. Malone specifically referenced DTRA program spun up with the CIA to activate. So senior U.S. officials are urging Kazakhstan's leader to find a peaceful resolution to a series of protests, many of them violent, while questioning the wisdom of the authoritarian Central Asian country's decision to seek security assistance from Russian-dominated military alliance. The protests, which began last week over a spike in fuel prices, but evolved to cover political grievances and fury. Let me get back to this. Cooperation also led the U.S. Embassy in Kazakhstan to ramp up security measures and weigh an evacuation, according to emails obtained by Politico. Kazakhstan is a large, landlocked country of roughly 19 million people on the Russian-Chinese border, making it a strategic interest to United States companies such as Chevron, ExxonMobil, so military-industrial complex, big oil. Moscow has amassed as many as 100,000 troops. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke Thursday with Kazakh foreign ministers Mukhtar Telyberdi. Blinken reiterated that the United States' full support of Kazakhstan's constitutional institutions and media freedom and are advocate for a peaceful, rights-respecting resolution to the crisis, according to a State Department readout. He also raised a priority promoting stability in Europe, so more bullshit. Blinken separately tweeted that he had a productive call with these Kazakhstan people in response to President to act as toughly as possible. He accepted cabinet's resignation and introduced a state of emergency in several provinces, right? So it's destabilizing there. This isn't news. Everybody's aware now that shit's going down in Kazakhstan. The U.S. Embassy is located in Nur-Sultan, which is named after, who gives a shit, still the country's longtime autocratic leader who still plays a role in affairs, but the United States has diplomatic facilities in Almaty as well. Well, what else is in Almaty, guys? As the protests grew more violent, so the situation's heating up over there, right? January 5th, right? Shelter in place, internet outages. State Department declined to comment on a record about the emails. Things are getting out of hand there. And if you've been watching what's going on in Kazakhstan, it's getting really bad. So let's move forward. That's Politico. Next, Daily Mail. This is the reason why you're watching this video. If you made it this far, thank you very much. This is what we need to talk about. Daily Mail out of the UK. Kazakhstan denies military laboratory was seized by rioters after Russia claimed a possible pathogen leak occurred at controversial facility as country's health minister says more then 160 had been killed. The U.S.-funded laboratory was reported to have fallen into protesters' hands. However, officials have denied the claims, saying that the biological lab is secure. At a secretive biolab, an outbreak of potentially deadly diseases is studied. Russian state media highlighted claims that a pathogen had escaped at the lab. Officials of Kazakhstan have denied that a controversial military biological weapons laboratory was seized in recent unrest, which has so far claimed so. 16 police National Guard members have been killed. Russian media claimed that the U.S.-funded facility near Almaty was compromised, resulting in a possible leak of dangerous pathogens. The airport. All right, scroll down a little bit. Secret bio laboratory funded by the U.S. Defense Department, which has links to Chinese-Russian scientists, was also compromised in disturbances, according to the social media claims. Says this is not true. The facility is being guarded. Central Reference Laboratory, people responsible. Official Russian news agency TASS highlighted alleged social media reports that it was taken over by unidentified people, and specialists in chemical protective suits were working near the lab, so a leak of dangerous pathogens could have occurred. The laboratory's existence has been controversial since 2020. So the United States was working with Kazakhstan to create these labs, multiple labs, BSL3, BSL4, ABSL for animals, right? All over the area. And we know that Wuhan was probably one of those labs as well. We know that Dr. Fauci, working with the NIH and all that stuff, was giving grants to EcoHealth Alliance with Kazakh and promoting the study of gain-of-function research using deadly weapons, biological weapons. At the time, the Kazakh government stated no biological weapons development is underway in Kazakhstan and no research is conducted against any other states. It was built in 2017 and is used for study of outbreaks, particularly dangerous infections. Guys, we have a major problem on our hands here. It looks like the next Wuhan is Almaty, Kazakhstan. In 2018, there were claims officially denied that a new strain of meningitis leaked from the lab. The Kazakhs said earlier that no U.S. personnel remain involved in the lab's work, which included the study of COVID. The furor over the lab came amid growing intrigue over the organization as protests that now have subsided over a large Russian force was sent to Kazakhstan. Reports have cited that it coordinated armed groups alongside protesters against the gas price hike. Pictures have emerged of gun seized and riots. Okay, so, circumstantial bullshit. The head of the security. Okay, so this looks like detained suspicion of treason related to the week's mayhem. So this is more internal politics over there. So the story appears to be getting away from the lab here. About 5,800 people have been detained. Sporadic gunfire was heard Sunday. That's right, I heard that. I was watching it live feeds on Twitter. Almaty's airport. So we're talking about the evacuation underfoot going on here. So this is more talk about what's going on from like a security standpoint. So great article. Next article here. This is NCBI NIH.gov articles. Significance of high containment biological laboratories performing work during COVID-19 pandemic. Biosafety labs level 3 and 4. So let's see when this was published. 2021, August. And if you just type in Kazakh, right? Let's just type in Kazakh. You will see that is all over this. Although the CDC and WHO recommend clinical samples, describe diagnostic reference testing located Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan Central Reference Laboratory, CRL, BSL level 3. In Almaty, Kazakhstan. Partnership with Kazakhstan DTRA. So this is NIH.gov. This will be in the links in the comments below, in the section below, description below. dangerous infections. Kazakhstan, government of Kazakhstan transferred facility in 2017. Oh my God. Capability, national CRO, leading diagnostic laboratory, Kazakhstan remains national. So how do we know vaccinology, national research, DTRA, more, I mean, there's 23 instances of Kazakhstan in here. And some of them are probably anecdotal. But some of them are very scary for me. Like, as I read this, I want you to understand that not only was Fauci working with Eco Alliance to give funding to do gain-of-function research with China in Wuhan lab, but he was also doing it in other countries like Kazakhstan, in Almaty. And so Fauci was questioned, saying, hey, do you think it was dumb, like working with communist countries like, China to study this over there in their country? How do you know the Chinese aren't lying to you, right? How do you know that the Chinese aren't taking that information and going to use that against us? And then here we are now in Almaty. How do you know that the Kazakhstan government isn't going to turn around and side with Russia, and now they have all this weapons research technology, right? And then here's another, BS non really related article, Daily Mail, why you don't need to panic about Delta Quran. Scientists call for caution. So, more bullshit. NATO stands ready for conflict in Europe, says alliance chief. Financial Times. Guys, we have a problem on our hands. I've studied international affairs, national security level, and I have to say, this protest and all this type of social unrest stinks of this Zbigniew Brzezinski color revolution method of radicalizing through CIA and ex-military contractors in a foreign theater a group of people to then rise up against their government for whatever reason. And then they went and did some chaos, and I'll just kind of roll some footage here in the background. They're talking about here in Almaty, mayhem, looting, right? Like, these protesters are going in there, smashing and grabbing and doing all this stuff in Kazakhstan, while, special forces, Delta, special operations group, CIA show up to secure the lab and to take whatever's in there, right? But what if they didn't? What if they left stuff behind? What if stuff is leaking out in there? And there's video of, later on in this video of evacuation happening, police running in, people boarding aircraft, leaving Kazakhstan on military aircraft. And if those people are infected with a possible biological gain-of-function deadly pathogen, then they are spreading it. This could be the next Wuhan. You need to keep your eyes open on Almaty, Kazakhstan. Look at every single article I'm going to post in the description of this video. Read them and share them to your friends. I think we need to be talking about this. We need Rand Paul to watch this video. We need him to question Dr. Fauci specifically on Almaty, Kazakhstan. What were you doing there? And then once he tries to deny and lie his way out of the bullshit, we need to ask Dr. Fauci straight up, did you secure the shit that you guys are working on there, the bubonic plague? We have a major problem on our hands, guys. So that's what I wanted to share in this video. I wanted to bring this to your attention because there's another article, and I don't think I have it here, but they were, yes, bubonic plague lab. Okay, so we need to find out, were they gain-of-functioning bubonic plague? Share this to Dr. Rand Paul. Share this to all of your congressmen and senators and tell them you need to get Fauci up there right now in front of the Senate and ask him, were you involved with this? Give us a breakdown of the funding. Give us a breakdown of all the research that was happening there, all the names involved and what organizations, and specifically what pathogens you are working on. Do we still have control of those things, or do the Russians now have this? All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for listening. Share this with your friends. You guys be safe and stay alert. It looks like we might have a weaponized gain-of-function bubonic plague on our hands very soon.